Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hey there, welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. If you're stuck and need help moving forward in your VA business, be sure to book your complimentary cut to the chase call with me so we can talk about the ways that I can help you. Book your call at yourvamentor.com/chase. Today I want to talk about simplifying business by looking at it through another lens, your everyday life. Today's quote is from Mark Zuckerberg. I think a simple rule of business is if you do the things that are easier first, then you can actually make a lot of progress. So many of us make business too hard. Shifting how you think about things can really help make it a lot easier. Let's go. So many virtual assistants make business really hard, too hard. We start by thinking we have to be someone else, this business person or persona. Someone who speaks a certain way or who learns certain things or who does certain things. But I remind VAs every day that we are service business professionals. And what does that mean? That means that our product is ourselves, us. So why would we need to be anything other than ourselves? First of all, it's hard to be someone else. It's hard to try. It's often not even natural. And second, it can make it really hard to build our confidence and to make decisions. How can we know for sure that something is right for us if we're trying to make a decision that somebody else might make? That's why today I want you to shift your mindset a little bit, maybe a lot, and talk about how to take business lessons straight from your life, real life, things you do every single day. Why? Because when you realize that you're already perfectly capable of being a business person, because you do things every day in other places of your life, you're going to find out that you is enough for your clients. I have 4 or 5 tips for you today that I hope will help you see just how amazing you already are at business. Let's go. Number 1 is grocery shopping versus business budgeting. Little comparison. What do these two things have to do with business? Actually, they have everything to do. What do we need to do when we decide to go grocery shopping? This is an easy one, guys. We need to figure out what we need and what we want, and we need to know what our budget is. You do this on a weekly basis. Probably anyway. I know I do. I try to plan ahead to figure out things that we're going to need on a regular basis, those things you buy all the time. And I watch for them to go on sale. If they aren't on sale, I get them anyway, but being able to plan within your budget is something that we all do, or at least should be doing all the time, simply by grocery shopping. Understanding that something like grocery shopping that we do every day is so much like budgeting in our VA business is an everyday lesson that is really worth learning. If you think that you can't budget properly in your business because you don't have any experience doing business budgeting, you can. You've probably been doing something similar, whether it's grocery shopping or other shopping, for many years. You have so much experience in this area. Look at the expenses you have for your VA business in a similar way than you would stock your pantry. What do you absolutely need? What do you need sometimes? What do you just like? And what can you actually get rid of or stop buying altogether? View your VA business budget like your household grocery budget, and you're going to be able to make sound decisions about where you should be spending your money. It's simple, isn't it? Building a business requires some outlay of cash on a regular basis. Those are your expenses. If you constantly think that you don't have enough money to spend on what you need to keep your VA business pantry stocked, you may find yourself either not having enough of the basics or stuck having to buy things at the regular price because you're not planning ahead for what you need with enough time to seek out a better or sale price for it. I hope that makes sense. This comparison, I guess, is meant to simply simplify the way you think about a lot of different things. So that's grocery shopping versus business budgeting. Pretty similar if you look at it. Next is cooking. versus project management. Now, before you jump up and tell me that you're not a good cook, I want to say that even if you aren't good at cooking or if you don't like to cook, you can still probably understand how it works, or at least how it's supposed to work. So, this should still help. Listen on. Cooking a meal requires some planning, some coordination, and some execution. We decide what the meal's going to be, we create or figure out the steps that we need to take to make it, and then we follow them to make the recipe, right? And of course, we eat it, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the cooking part. So, what do we call this process in the business world? It's project management. Project management is a business skill that we often need to use, especially as a virtual assistant, if we're the one who's keeping all the balls in the air for our clients. But it's also something that we need to use in our own business. We need to plan our goals, our schedule, our money, everything. And it can all be done in the same way that we approach cooking in everyday life. We want to do things that we like or even love, much like the foods we prepare for ourselves and our families. We want to figure out the simplest steps to create what it is that we want. In cooking, that could be buying some pre-prepped items like chopped garlic or pre-made chicken stock. It might be like using an Instant Pot instead of the stovetop. You get the idea. There are shortcuts all around us in everyday life that we can also mirror in our business. You just need to look for them. Cooking also shows us the importance of time management. When we're trying to get everything on the same plate or on the table so that our meal is hot, all parts of it, what do we have to do? We have to look at our prep times, our cook times, and we plan accordingly. And of course, we put the oven on low to keep certain things warm while we finish up other last minute stuff. And it's the same thing with your VA business. We need to set up lead times according to our deadlines and how long things are going to take to do. It's all the same type of skill, it's just used for something different. So look at your project management and your task completion and even goal setting and strategy in the same way as you look at preparing a meal. If you don't know the ingredients you need, you have to figure that out. If you don't know the steps you have to take, research those. If you don't get it quite right the first time, which, happens, especially in cooking, figure out what it was that you did wrong or what needs to change and write that down so that the next time you go to do that thing or to cook that meal, you're not going to make the same mistake. Same. Fun, eh? Let's keep going on our everyday task comparisons. This one is gardening versus patience. One of the things that we really need to exercise in business is patience. Whether it's getting started, growing, changing in some way, or finally reaching a lofty goal, we need to make sure that we're not setting our expectations too high. Here's an example of what I mean. You join a Facebook group with the intention of networking with people and finding amazing clients. I tell you to all the time, so you should be looking to do that. And then we get frustrated that we don't get a client in the first week. Or maybe we get in trouble for self-promotion because we're anxious and we're posting the wrong things. Or maybe we just find out that after a few weeks in the group, it's a dud. Well, I don't want you to have to wait months to get any of your actions working properly for you. You have to have a realistic expectation around timing, how relationships work, and that type of thing. And that often takes patience, sometimes more patience than we have. An everyday comparison to something that requires similar patience is gardening. Gardening is one of those things that, especially since the pandemic, everybody seems to be doing. I know we are. But you can't make a plant grow faster or bear fruit faster. You have to wait. This we know about gardening. And in the meantime, there are many things that you need to do to nurture that plant so that you can harvest what comes from it. The right temperature, the right light, the right moisture, the right pruning maybe, are all important to help that plant grow in the very best way that it can. And your business networking is the same. You have to find the right people in the right place, say the right things, and still tweak those conversations and the follow-up that you do with them so that you nurture that person and that relationship so that it can bear fruit. Doing both of those things also requires a consistent effort and willingness to learn and the confidence to adapt your process when necessary. And finally, delayed gratification is a really big part of gardening. We wait months to harvest what we're growing, but because we're looking at it every day, we can monitor its progress. This is also good advice when you're talking about building your VA business. Don't just network when you're looking for a VA client. Don't just post in a Facebook group when you have time or feel like it. Don't just analyze your expenses when you're having a lean month. You need to keep an eye on all of these things, just like a garden. Nurture it and grow it, and it's going to produce the best yield for you every single season. Gardening, we set ourselves that expectation that we need to be patient, and so we need to do the same thing in our business. Give ourselves the expectation that it's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen when we tend to it every single day. Okay, so if you don't shop, cook, or garden, maybe you can relate to sports. We'll talk a little bit about sports versus team dynamics. Whether you're working with just your client or a team, their team or your own team, it's so important to master the skill of teamwork to be successful in your VA business, even if your team is just you and your client. So what do we need to be a team player? We need to communicate well. We need to collaborate well. We need to buy into the plan. We have to implement the plan effectively, and we have to be willing to learn and grow. Teamwork is so important when you're a VA. You are a service professional who's providing support to a client in order for them to run their business smoothly or to grow it effectively. They are relying on you to help them with certain things and do it from a distance. So communication and a good plan is really important. Sometimes we also need to take on a leadership role. If you're a proactive VA, maybe you'll take charge of the projects that your clients have going on. Maybe that means coordinating with other people or just managing a lot of different tasks at once. Either way, leadership is really important and can help you build a solid role for yourself on your client's team. Just like in a sport, you might be a key player that becomes indispensable. I know that's always what I looked to be to my clients, was indispensable. They needed me, and that meant a long-term relationship. Maybe you'll be the quarterback, maybe you'll be the receiver. And in sports too, communication is key. Everyone has to be on the same page, and communication is a very important factor. In my beloved hockey, you all know that I love NHL hockey. The game moves so quickly, and there are so many moving parts. Line changes, different teams, different cities, different ice conditions. You have to think quickly and make fast decisions, but you also have to work from a playbook, so they aren't just all doing what you think is right in the moment, because hockey is a team game, not an individual game. Maybe one guy will score a goal, but it definitely takes the team to win the whole game. It's exactly the same as your VA services. We need our clients to do what we do. We can't do it if we don't have clients. We need to work with them to make sure that we have all of the plans and action steps in place to get to where we want to go. Give yourself the best advantage to be a great team player by communicating well, keeping things organized, and on deadline. Collaboration is so much easier when everybody's clear on the goals and the steps to achieve them. What do you think? Cool list, eh? I'm always looking for ways to help you understand how simple it is to run a successful virtual assistant business. And I'm always trying to remind you of how much you already know how to do. Confidence is a really big issue with VAs. The lack of it, I mean. I talk to you guys every single day. I know the lack of confidence that is there. We think we don't know enough. We think we aren't making the right decisions. We think we aren't the right person to do this or that. There's always somebody better, or so we think. But when we look at things from another perspective, like simple everyday situations, I think we can view ourselves in a much brighter light. We can see that we already do so many of these things every single day, and we don't even realize how effortlessly we do it. I always tell VAs that decision making is simple. You decide so many things every day without realizing it. You decide what time to get up, what to wear, when to brush your teeth, what to eat, how much cream goes in your coffee, when your car needs gas, when you should leave to arrive at a destination on time, when to charge your phone, and so on. We make a million decisions a day, and we move forward. That's what you need to do for your business too. You need to recognize just how good you already are, how valuable you already are, and then make the decisions necessary to move yourself forward, one step at a time, every single day. What do you think? If you're ready to take a step forward, or actually many steps forward, that's where I come in. I'm here for one reason only, to help you become a ridiculously good VA. I've helped hundreds of VAs who are stuck get moving through private coaching, group coaching, and live and self-study trainings. If you want to talk about how we can work together, let's connect on one of my Cut to the Chase calls. You can book yours at yourvamentor.com/chase. That's Chase, C-H-A-S-E. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Ridiculously Good VA Show. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. For more great resources for your VA business, visit my website at yourvamentor.com. I'll see you back here next time.